The theme and the message for this month is one of living everyday wonder. And that's the theme for the year and also for January. And today's message is wonder, wonder everywhere. And so I'll begin with part of my message, which was or is that sometimes wonder is not necessarily a positive thing. Sometimes wonder comes up in my life in the form of, I wonder why this is happening. I wonder how this could be. I wonder how my perceptions of the world around me are challenging what I believe or what I think or what I feel, what I value, what I esteem. So wonder is either way, whether wonder is something that appears to be joyous and positive and attractive, or whether wonder is one of those moments of, huh, really this? Both are an opening to consciousness. And that opening to consciousness is a feeling, a poise, a position uh, where learning and growth can take place. A person is moved out of sort of a rigid or a stuck position when that moment of wonder, be it, I wonder how great this is, I am in wonder of it, or I wonder why this is happening. Either one of those is a sort of overcoming that inertia. It is going from something that's static and dense and thick to something that is more fluid and pliable and plastic. And in that fluid and pliable and plastic, my thinking can change. Healing can take place. I can grow. My heart and mind can grow to experience and express and circulate more good. And as you may have known, uh, the the themes come with books, and obviously one of the opportunities here is to do book study around these books. But the book for the year is called Ordinary Wonder: Zen Life and Practice by Charlotte Joko-Beck. And the book for the month of January is called What's in the Way is the Way, one of my ministerial colleagues' faves right now. And that is by Mary O'Malley. Now, the positive side of wonder is capsulized by this particular quote from Angela Morgan. It says, "Oh, to be alive in such an age when miracles are everywhere and every inch of common air throbs a tremendous prophecy of greater marvels yet to be." And it rhymes a little, so it's kind of cool. Uh, but I love that an age when miracles are everywhere. Remember, miracles are those shifts in consciousness, and that the common air is throbbing with a tremendous prophecy. And then Ernest Holmes, and this from, I guess this is from Ideas for Living, puts it like this: when you stand in awe of grandeur, something deep within you responds. Something within you embraces the ocean. Something within you melts into the mountain. And you become one with all of them, the ocean and the mountain. Now, just mentioning wonder, the theme wonder, wonder everywhere, doesn't necessarily cause you to be wonderful, to be in wonder. And, you know, wonder to me is different than wonder for you. It's an inner experience, and therefore it's kind of singular and personal. But spirituality in general, and in the case of wonder, is an awakening. It's a revealing. And it's an awakening to a specific thing in science of mind, and that is the dimension of feeling, right? It's a dimension of feeling that is really essential to this human phase of your soul's journey. And just a reminder that feelings are an inward sensation. And that inward sensation often arises from mind. The mind and the science of mind doesn't just mean brain and thinking, right? It means brain and your central nervous system and all five senses and those subtle sensory systems like intuition and imagination. And so when you forget who you are at your essence, and as a reminder, you are pure spirit at your essence, you may experience inwardly what we would call negative feelings. But when you remember who you are at your essence, which is pure spirit, those feelings are positive, and God is alive in you in those moments where you have that pure positive feeling. Well, what are those feelings? Well, these are synonymous with the qualities of God. So anything from this list, and this list is by no means complete, but here are a lot of things that you and I identify as positive inward feelings. And whether you're aware of it or not, you either consciously or unconsciously choose when and how to express those feelings. And those feelings are usually expressed as emotions, right? Now I say consciously or unconsciously. Sometimes you get a feeling and it feels automatic that that emotion falls from that feeling, derives from that feeling, is the effect of that cause, right? But as you grow in consciousness, you are increasingly aware of choices in general. And because you become more aware of choices, you naturally begin to make better, more light-filled, more love-based, more compassionate choices. Well, how do those come about? Well, they come about through, you guessed it, spiritual practices, right? Those things that you do a little bit at a time, hopefully a little bit each day, or maybe a little bit each week, or a little bit each month, right? When you take time to meditate, or treatment, or pray, or affirm, or to do some spiritual study, or to journal as a spiritual practice, or visioning as a spiritual practice. And weekly you might, or monthly, maybe join in sacred service, or see your practitioner or spiritual counselor, or give, as we have done earlier, as a spiritual practice, or join, as we are joined now, in the beloved community. We've heard the song, It's a Wonderful World, and it is a wonderful world, even if that wonder is about a world that is challenging. As I mentioned earlier, it could be challenging to my calm state of mind, right? I might be just all zenned out on my meditation cushion, and then my perception of the world suddenly shifts me out of that. Or it might be a wonder of what might be changing about what I value in the world, or what I consider to be decent or fair or balanced or orderly. And as is often the case, the healing and growth in consciousness, that happens in cycles. And we generally, in the science of mind, look at that as an upward spiral. So you cycle around to something that has come up for healing or growth, and you move on from that, and then with a little bit higher consciousness, it cycles back to it, and you learn a little bit more. And of course, it might just be me and the lessons I am learning again for the first time, laughter here. I wonder, how the world can be in such stark opposition, to what I thought I believed, right? To what feels right, to what feels compassionate, and how so many appear to be like increasingly indifferent to my worldview, my point of view, right? You sort of, and it is that reminder that the world really isn't changing so much as my perception of the world is changing. And those changes in my perception are that cycle back, right? That upward spiral, that cycle back to go deeper, to heal more, to grow more in consciousness, perhaps to modify or dig into my spiritual practices in ways that I hadn't before. Or maybe it's revisiting some spiritual practices that I've kind of let go, right? So in the midst of the challenges, right, wonder, that mental poise, right, that attitude is opening to new possibilities, to healing, to growth and consciousness, to have greater compassion, to have a deeper connection, to circulate the infinite love of living spirit in a greater way. And as you and I open and appreciate that, the reminders of wonder abound all around. Now, wonder in its most positive is a poise that grows your consciousness, right? And this is a time of year where many folks have made a New Year resolution, or maybe several resolutions, or they've maybe set goals for the year. Now, did each person, did you, did I, arrive at those resolutions by first finding that wonderful, that wonder-filled poise? Did I spend time in my imagination? And did I really move in imagination to the point where all of those resolutions, all of those goals that I've set for 2022, did I imagine them already accomplished? And did I take it even further? Those goals are already accomplished. What does that feel like? What are the feelings that arise from those resolutions resolved, from those goals achieved? So right here and right now, you can go through a transformational process, meaning I can take where I started with resolutions and goals, and I can kind of rethink it. And the way that I suggest you rethink it is to change resolution, change those goals to intentions, right? And once that goal or that resolution becomes an intention, notice how your thinking and your feeling and the emotions associated with those begin to shift. You know, a New Year's resolution often for me carries this kind of overtone of obligation or contract that, you know, on the outer, that seems like the mechanism that gets this done, right? That engages my will in order to achieve this goal. But an intention is more of a mental attitude or a mental direction that is actually easier for your mind, and that's all of those things that I talked about earlier, to embrace and to engage. And an intention allows for variability and revision along the way. So you might be really clear in your New Year's resolution, for example, I'm going to lose 20 pounds, right? But that might lack the intention that propels the process. It may not have arisen out of the feelings or qualities that you would associate with that, like health and vitality and joy and ease, right? So the way you turn this around, the way I turn this around and says, well, my intention for 2022 is greater health, is greater well-being, is an improvement in vitality. And I know that those qualities come with an ease and a joy and a grace and an effortlessness. I hold that in my thinking, right? And so therefore I've opened my mind for this intention to manifest and demonstrate in many ways that might include losing 20 pounds, but it might include so much more, because I'm setting it with a positive and powerful intention that is open to all the good that God can bring to my conscious awareness, all the good that I can conceive and believe I can express and experience, right? And so this intention infused with those positive feelings are the goodness of God within you. That intention is automatically already a believable, it is attainable, it's happening right now, it's sustainable, and it flourishes beyond anything that you have even imagined. So as you're joyously and easily becoming more healthy in body, as you have incorporated weight loss as an advance in consciousness, you notice not only has the body temple gained health and vitality, but you're able to do so much more in the world and be so much more in the world, whether it's maybe playing sports or be more active in your relationships or travel or advance in your career or get more education or be more consistent with your spiritual practice. So all of those things lead to these other things based on that one simple intention, right? And that spiritual practice that I've highlighted for today is one of visioning, right? Now, not to be so magical and mystical about this, you vision all the time. You're just not necessarily aware of it, right? You get the idea that you want to stand up, you stand up. That's the vision fulfilled, right? You get the idea you want to sit down, you sit down, that's the vision fulfilled. So it's happening all the time. Visioning is just bringing this more to conscious awareness and setting it in something that is a definite and consistent spiritual practice, and something that is infused with the qualities, those inner positive feelings that really amplify all the good in your life that's already so about you. You know, I'm reminded of this TV commercial that satirizes these popular horror movies, and the poor choices that the characters in those movies make, which, you know, usually disconnects me from the movie right then and there. But, you know, the characters are in this really fear-based state of mind. It's an agitated, you know, sort of disconnected way. And they say, well, let's hide in the attic. Let's hide in the basement. No, let's get in that running car. No, no, let's hide behind all the chainsaws. So when your brain is that sort of not calm and not clear, you know, in that sort of agitated, distracted, disconnected state, you may not be making the best choices, right? It still parallels the visioning process, but and choices are being made, so you are empowering yourself to a certain level. But as a spiritual practice, visioning brings together that clarity, that calmness, that mindfulness of meditation, and that power of affirmation, bringing those positive qualities and characters to life. So if those characters in the movie were able to just take a breath and calm their minds, they would probably make better choices. And the same is true for you and I. When we calm our mind, we make better choices. So I'll share with you a few affirmations that might help you along your way. I see awe-inspiring beauty everywhere I look. I live in a wonderful world. I am surrounded by awe-inspiring demonstrations of God. So the more frequently you calm and clarify your thinking, the more you can move to that poise of wonder, that poise of awe, that poise of possibility. And the more likely that good ideas, those God ideas, enter your conscious thought, and the more likely those ideas appear as positive inward sensations called feelings. But more than this, those positive feelings are God alive in you. Well, peace and blessings to everybody. Thank you for joining us here this morning.